So, are you wondering why is it that I don't feel good enough? And I feel that I am working so much harder than most people just to feel okay. Is there a deeper reason for this? In today's video, I'll talk more about the potential reasons why you're not feeling good enough. So, if you're not feeling good enough, these might be some of your manifestation. It's you trying very hard, and maybe you're an overachiever, and you have to just do things as they should be done. You're afraid to make mistakes. You over obsess about even just doing a PowerPoint and how everything has to be right in its place, or you say things a certain way. Um, or you might feel burnt out just because of what I just mentioned. Okay, the feeling of a possible manifestation of your deeply not good enough, that feeling. Um, you have maybe relationships that deplete you, or you might be the it, like people go to you, but then you feel like when it's time for you to lean your head on somebody's shoulders, that's not always available as you have been more available, easily available to other people. And yes, it's an easy response to you, and that no is almost like a bad word. So just a few of the manifestations, but I'll talk to you more about kind of like the beginning. And I want to tell you that we all are like babies, we all started as babies. We are, equipped enough or even well enough as babies to have everything that we need. This is my belief. And more than that, to be successful in this world. But obviously, you and I have listened, have absorbed stories, whether that's stories from your mom, from culture, from society. And those stories become the story that you live by. It's almost like being hypnotized by these stories. Sometimes it's good to be hypnotized by a story that tells you that you're good enough. But sometimes it goes the opposite way, in which you feel shamed by your mother, and that happens not only once, but maybe often, and you feel like there's something wrong with you. And these things happen. I want to share with you. Um, of course, not all things are traumatic, but what happens with your mind and your body? I know in the Western world, we like to keep things separate, the mind and the body. But actually, the body is very much connected to the mind, and the mind connected to the body. So you see the word intensity. What that means is sometimes we have imprints in our body, things that we remember, negative things that have occurred, something that we felt in the past because of its intensity. And that's more likely a traumatic experience. It's by intensity. You got hit by a car, something very shocking, something that really overloaded your nervous system. Or it's also possible that it's not as intense, but it's happening all the time. Like you have a drunk father, comes home, doesn't know, you don't know what to expect from him. Sometimes he's, kind of verbally abusive. Sometimes he's sweet to you and tender. As that can also be traumatic for some people. It may be more of an imprint because of simply the repetition. So it's like a voice, that the whispering. It's not a shout, it's a whisper, but it's constantly whispering to you. And that's really how you get these messages of why you're not good enough. I'm gonna tell you a bit of elephants. Now we don't really use elephants in the circus, but long time ago we used to do that. And the ringmaster is said to chain the legs or the feet of the baby elephant as part of the training. Because when they get bigger, they could just run away, and they don't like that. There's no show if there's no elephant, talking about back then. And so, what's fascinating is that over and over again, these baby elephants have been trained with their legs chained in a beam. And when once they are all grown and they're big and they really could just yank it with not much force and yank the whole chain. But because the elephant has been trained to just be part of that chain, it doesn't even know what it's capable of. And that's what happens to us if it's repetition over and over again. We become hypnotized, things become a habit. And you know, as a therapist, I like the word habit because when you think about habit, people always talk about smoking, for instance, and that you can break smoking because it's a habit. And many of our anxious manifestation or depressive manifestation is also like a habit, like the elephant being used to being chained. And even though, so if you're listening here, if you feel chained, stuck, not feeling good enough, right? Is it possible that this chain, this story that you've listened before is no longer there, but you continue to sense and it has become part of your identity? Let's talk about how to move past these not feeling good enough experience. I'll tell you a little bit of my therapy framework. Whether you seek therapy or not, one of the secrets I will tell you is to first change. Before I get to the secret, I will share with you why this is important, okay? When you have an experience, if your mom, you know, usually just one time you got shame, that might be something that your body will not remember. But if it's over and over again and the or it's intense, what happens is you want to remember that. That is the negativity bias. We remember things that are scary, bad, right? And the brain wants to predict, okay, is it going to be that same situation again? You know, am I going to fall again? Is she going to shame me again? And so it's predicting to sort of as a strategy so that, oh my gosh, that will not happen again. So you experience and then you predict, and from prediction is expectation. So if you have that experience with your mom, you predict that, okay, when you express yourself to mom, she's probably going to minimize you and shame you. And the expectation is that you would expect that even though it's no longer your mom, that if you express yourself to other people, it's not good enough. They will minimize you. So this is the brain. I'm giving you a very quick snapshot of the brain, and the brain is mysterious. I'm not saying we all know already exactly what the brain is doing, but so far we know that the brain likes to do this. Now, again, I'm going to talk about how do we break that cycle. And this is the magic that I was just mentioning. It's called LEI. If you learn to change language is L, okay? E is experience, I is imagination. So it's like this um, lay, Hawaiian lay. So let me talk briefly about language and whether you seek therapy or not. So you would know if you need therapy if you've tried the best that you can. And most people would try their best first and do a DIY. But if that doesn't work, I encourage you to seek a professional and it would change your life. Okay. So, changing your language. So, imagine if you were crossing the bridge and you're so fearful, right? And you just want to get to the other side, and it's a tall bridge and there's water underneath. Your language, if your language keeps telling you, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. So, language could be verbal or just your thoughts. Okay. They're the same. Imagine your response. You're likely not want to cross, right? So that's language. So I'm giving you just a quick snapshot of what needs to be transformed. And it's just not thought or just language, because otherwise you would have thought your way out of it. But it's helpful. Now, the next one is after language is the E, is the experience. So sometimes even if you still have not honed the language, but going back to the bridge metaphor. You're crossing the bridge, you're afraid, it's high and there's water underneath. But if you start just doing the action, stepping one foot over the other, you're like, oh, I'm not dying, I'm not dying. So perhaps the thought or the language would start thinking differently or saying thoughts that it usually would say is by experience. Okay, so the action that you're taking, language is also the thought, the action that you're taking is experience. The last one you don't think about is called imagination. Okay, so imagination. So if you're imagining even before you cross the bridge that there are crocodiles, you're gonna die, you see your dead body, and that's just what anxiety is. It's a catastrophic imagination. You're like, oh my God, this is what's going to happen. So it's a limiting way of, very narrow way of imagining. And we know also if you've had exposure to anything traumatic, or you have an imprint of, like, let's say somebody always shaming you, that your imagination becomes narrow because now you're trying to predict, which I just talked about, and you're just like, you don't even want to try new things unless you could see what's out there or for sure you will be successful. Not saying that if that is your experience and that's the only experience that's trauma, but that could also be a trauma response. I always would want to say in this channel that not everything, of course, is traumatic. There is kind of natural stress, and some of those natural stress is not always bad for you. It's almost like a psychological immune booster, almost like when we allow our children to play outside, get dirty. So I just want to make sure that that's understood. But again, if you need, so these are the things you want to transform: language, the way you talk to yourself, the way you talk about your experiences, experience the action that you're taking. And I is your imagination. How do you expand that? So rather than thinking what could happen, what could potentially be the result that's very positive for you, the possibilities, you're thinking about possibilities. Now, again, this is Rowan. If we have not met, I am a licensed psychotherapist. And if you want to consult, go check out therapywithrowan.com. I hope you're having a wonderful day and that this video served you.